So, what is the fundamental difference between someone whom you may admire from the past or present who has realized truth, their true nature, and is living in that undivided state, or you read about it from the past, and yourself right now? What is the most fundamental difference? And I can tell you what it is. And that is focus, intention, willingness to stay with oneself. Take that backward step in Zen and stop, not move, not be distracted and follow all these red herrings, all these distractions in life. Yet another thing to do that takes one away, another belief, another thought, another teacher to follow, another idea, anything other than stopping, resting, and being here. That is the fundamental difference between for you, you're realizing your true nature and living the undivided state and living and peering from the place of being feeling separate. That's it in a nutshell. So if you look at all the people that you may have, the biggies in life that we tend to recycle as models, they're not the only ones. Trust me, there's so many that have gone unnoticed or quietly living their lives out or lived their lives out. Every single one of them, every single one of them were sincere. That's something Nisargadatta says. Sincerity is key. And you can't repeat this enough. One cannot, because the thing is that it just goes, yeah, okay, I need to be sincere. Why am I not sincere? I'm going to make myself wrong. Yet another red herring. Feeling bad about not being able to realize, chasing your tail, feeling bad about it, when in fact, there hasn't been a stopping. So it takes a maturity. And this is the invitation, you don't need it from me, but just as a reminder that it takes maturity on your part to want to wake up to truth. And what it means, in essence, is letting go and letting go of your beliefs about what it's going to give you, letting go of the ideas that it's going to be found in the world or by another. Someone's going to dispense it to you, that it will come just through grace. I mean, a lot of that can help, words of another, grace for sure, but the grace is always here. But the grace requires something from you on your part. It requires something from me. And that is sort of this undeniable heart desire, this longing caused so much pain in a way to not live in alignment with truth, with what is, with reality. It caused so much inner pain. And to recognize that a lot of the inner pain that you're feeling is from feeling separate inside, from the divided state. It can lead to anxiety, depression, extreme loneliness, isolation, feeling isolated, even amongst people, just unfulfilled, and a lot of fear that runs through the system because in the end we're kind of like fancy creatures, and living in the undivided state, just feeling not part and one with nature, with Mother Earth, feeling divided causes a lot of inner angst. And it upsets the whole nervous system. Can you imagine? I've said this before, an animal like my dog or, anything of nature that doesn't have that separate cell sense, suddenly getting a dose of separation, they would just leap out of their skin and freak out. And we grow into it from being very young. We grow and deepen in this separation. So it becomes sort of habituated and normalized, but there's some part of us that never ever gets used to it, and we're not meant to. But it causes a lot of dissatisfaction, right? And unless you're turning towards exploring that dissatisfaction deeply, one is going to be lost in the world to try to find that satisfaction in life, people, things, experiences, anything to not feel the uncertainty and the uncomfortableness of just being here in the moment. There's this inability to just be here in this moment, and that is extremely disheartening and sad, for oneself and for the collective, right? It's the most natural thing to be here and to be able to be present and available and just not in resistance to this moment. The moment includes you as you are, just being here with what is. So coming back to the beginning of this little talk, and I said this fundamental requirement that 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 one can look at these different beings that as a model, perhaps not just a model of what you want and put it outside of yourself, the carrot on the stick, but the model of how did they realize, what did it take. And I can tell you again, what it took, what it always takes is is stopping the forward leaning motion into life and where one gets lost in it, pulling back the energy of being lost in Maya, in the unconsciousness of the world, in this outer fulfillment, and coming back and staying with what's here at the root. And that takes a lot of courage, because what it requires is also facing the uncomfortableness that is also helping create the endless search outside and endless desire to be distracted, is partially because the separation has really become so entrenched, feeling divided, that it's led to a deep, deep uncomfortableness, and so that shifting anxiety and uncomfortableness needs to be met. Okay, it needs to be sat with. So you take the backward step, lean back in yourself over and over again as much as you can, and stay with what's here and notice, right? Don't get lost in it. Just notice it. It's going to be a vibration. It's going to feel out of sync, a little off, right? Because it is off. It is deeply out of sync, out of alignment, and out of harmony with just what is. So here one is, and here's truth, and we want to close the gap. And how you close that gap initially by going within, right? It's always about going within. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. What does it take? It's not just going to go poof, I'm God. Be still and feel and sense, first of all, what is leading you to want to not be still, right? So we're like chasing this carrot on the stick. I want to realize my true nature, if you're watching something like this, right? And it's authentic. Okay, the seeker is authentic. It's the longing is authentic, right? But at the same time, so it's trying to lead you back home to yourself. It's intelligent. It's trying to lead you back home. But what happens is that it gets, of course, part of the identity and lost in being a seeker itself, rather than what is it really trying to do? It's trying to help you come home here, not out here, right? More seeking outside. Right. So seeking, the carrot on the stick, and at the same time, there's a resistance. So there's also running the other direction. So here we are seeking, and then we're also running in the other direction as fast as possible because of the fear of facing oneself. The fear of first, there are a couple fears, and I'm going to list them, okay? Probably lots more. But one of them is first taking that backward step and leaning in and feeling the disharmony, because you can't go straight to what's undivided without feeling what it is that is been created out of not being divided. Okay, you can go there for a while, maybe just in moments, maybe even some months. Okay, transcend, but you have to also go through the fog of what has been created, because that's part of truth. Truth has been, it's been always here. It's always here, but then there's been an out of syncness and out of harmony with it. There's a gap, and it's created a lot of pain. And it's in the body, the animal nature of our body. It's singing, going, "Oh, I'm so lost. This is scary world." Not being in alignment with oneself is very scary. It creates a lot of distress. Okay, so you feel into it. And so running the other way is wanting to avoid that. So you keep wanting to ingest teachings and read and get more experiences and avoid, avoid, avoid. So thinking that you're actually getting somewhere with the carrot on the stick, and you're not. You're just avoiding the stopping. And then the other thing that one tends to be afraid of, which is an intuitive knowing, is not only feeling the uncomfortableness, which is the first step in terms of really being able to learn how to stop really permanently, not just a little experience. The other thing that we're often afraid of, as you know, is the fact that we're really nothing at the core of us, that there really isn't a person here. And we hear about it and we think that sounds very romantic, and we woo it. And like, I just want to die to myself. We create a story, a new identity around disappearing. But all the while, so that's the carrot on the stick, all the while we're running the other way, we're afraid of the disappearing. So that's another reason why we tend to not become very sincere and be willing to just be stripped of our ideas of what it takes to realize. So what it takes to realize is stepping back into yourself, staying here, not being lost out here, feeling what's here and not going into story about it, just energetically telling the truth, the sensing, the disturbance, and acknowledging it, having some loving kindness emerge about it. Like, of course, it's painful to be out of harmony with nature, to not know ourselves as one. I mean, that is just such a heartbreak. And then there becomes more of a trust, built over time. This is not so scary. And maybe it's not so scary to actually let go into not being anything in particular, not having an orientation, a center to the self, identity being recycled always, the identity of whatever it is you've got going, including being a spiritual seeker. It's really, sometimes we don't want to let go of these identities, part of the carrot on the stick. So you want to look at fundamentally what it is that is driving you out of in distraction, fear, the the fear of stopping, the fear of being uncomfortable, of facing our own impermanence, the fact that we don't last forever and nothing does. That creates a lot of fear too, especially when we don't have a stability in that which is eternal. So with the stopping, that's where you're going, is you're heading in the direction of what always is eternal. But we have to let go of that which we take ourselves to be in order to get there. And that's what always anybody throughout time now had to do in order to realize their true nature. And it's not just a one-off, right? I speak so much in my videos about how waking up, the first realization, realizing that you're the eternal, that you're a spirit, is the first understanding. But then to live it, it has to become embodied. It has to become immanent. This understanding deepens, right? And how about now? And it deepens into the humanness that we are. So we stop avoiding our humanness. We stop avoiding the fact that sadness is here. Does that mean there's a person here that's sad? No. Sadness is just here. Fear even can be here. But the thing is that when one goes to the root of things, the root of anything, that's the sincerity of willing to be able to be stopped and look at the fundamental root of anything that's arising. Okay. And it takes you back to just being here now, in the end, just being here now, and have this life, have life, the display of life, the display through the human being, have it just keep birthing itself. And it's not a problem anymore. We don't need to be perfected. In fact, imperfection is part of it. Our learning is part of it. Language has created this idea that there really is a self here. I'm sad versus just sadness is here. Can it just be? I'm happy. I'm having a good day. I'm having a bad day, a good moment, a bad moment. No, the moment is just as it is now. So just look at what's happening in your life. Look at where you're placing attention. Look at what it is that you're focusing on. And really be honest with yourself. At any given moment, the maturity is inviting you, spiritual maturity. You don't have to wait or grow into it. It's always available, tapping you on the shoulder, reality, tapping you on the shoulder. Be here. What's here? Can you welcome yourself as you are, this moment as it is? And it requires not being lost out in the world. You've heard that. It's been spoken about for thousands of years. Pull back the attention, the outward leaning attention. And yes, you might have to go through a period of being uncomfortable. And there are ways to meet that, get some nervous system support. The nervous system might be jumping and going out of control because there's trauma here, maybe there's some trauma. There's pain, that lives in the body, memory. Life can be very hard for so many, and everyone has had their hardships. So being here is not always so easy, right? And stopping and resting in what's taking place here in order to be able to really pull back the attention of what's driving wanting to be lost in the world includes pain, running away from being uncomfortable, as I said, right? So get some nervous system support, some somatic work, body work that really touches the nervous system, as I speak about so much. I got that. It's not easy being alive at this time, maybe for many, 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 many times, but the collective energy body, the collective body is singing a strong song of distress right now, and we are attuned to it because we're all connected. We're one great whole in the end, even if we don't know it. We're sensing it. We're sensing the collective distress of the whole. And so it's imperative at this point to take good care of yourself, ground yourself, do some earthing. So many things, right? To be able to learn how to just not want to run away and distract, especially if waking up is really, really a priority for you. Well, I hope this helps today. I know it's not always great news, but it is the news of the truth of what it takes to realize. And what it's always taken is look at the Buddha stopping under the Bodhi tree, right? Is taken if we were to know the sadhana, the spiritual journey of anyone who's really realized, you know, unless they're just born that way, super rare. It's taken a stopping and a withdrawing, and there's a period of it, and it's not always pleasant. Look what the Buddha went through, right, with Maya and everything. So we're not that different, huh? Okay, be well. Warm wishes, as always.